Coming up is a guy who is attached to me and Marco
Yeah.
by one common denominator. That he refereed my fight and he refereed your fight.
He
And
did.
his father refereed Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, right?
Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier,
number
Ali
one.
Frazier, man. Wow, man. So he comes from referee royalty.
He does.
And
It is Mr. Arthur Mercante Jr. Not only did he ref me and Jeremy's fights, but this guy has been in the ring with some of the all-time greats and gives a perspective that no fighter, nobody else can give us. And I think we should just jump right into it.
Let's do it, bro. Let's go.
Welcome to the champ
and the chump.
And who's the chump?
You.
Me. Welcome to our show, people.
You there?
Yes, you got it now.
Oh, that is crisp. You sound crisp. And you see us
It's
okay?
all thanks to you, Marco, for schooling me through this.
You know, with computers, it's always restart. That's always the answer to everything.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah, you sound way better too. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well,
We can actually hear you.
yeah, it's good to see you.
Nice to see you two gentlemen.
You have the distinction of being the only referee on planet Earth to have reffed me and Jeremy's fights.
And it was an honor. You two guys were real gentlemen. I'll tell you that. You didn't give me a hard time.
No, we didn't.
No, what fights did he have with me?
Maurice, do you remember Jeremy's fights? You probably did so many, Arthur. You don't remember it?
No.
No, you did.
They're blurred.
First, Maurice Harris. I know he refereed the one with you and Maurice Harris.
Yes.
That's all.
Yeah, I wanted you to stop that fight so bad.
Why?
Because my timing was off. So no matter what I did, I was just getting hit. And the guy, he wasn't strong enough to knock me out. And I remember in my head looking at you going, dude, stop the fight. He's just beating me up all night. And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah,
stop the
but it wasn't bad enough that, you know, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but he couldn't hit hard enough to break an egg. But man, he's accurate as heck, man. He just hit me, and I was like, just stop the fight. Obviously I didn't want to quit, but he didn't stop the fight. And I was like, fuck. 10 rounds of ass kicking.
So I saw that you had a cup. You had. It says what I found, and maybe it's not accurate. You had amateur fights, Arthur, right?
I fought in the Golden Gloves. In 1976, I was 112 pounds. I lost to a fellow who went on to become featherweight champ of the world, Juan Laporte.
I know him, yeah.
Really? Wow.
And I said to my father, Dad, I felt I beat this kid. I want to turn pro. And my father said, as long as you live under my roof, how about you think about becoming a referee? And that's how I got involved in refereeing. I started refereeing the Golden Gloves in 1979. My father made it mandatory that I spent 5 years in the Golden Gloves, and I turned pro in 1984.
Wow. Well, you did turn pro.
Yeah, as a referee, yes. I didn't turn pro as a referee.
Okay.
Yeah.
84.
I hung up the glove, became an amateur referee in 1979 till 1984. And then my first major fight in 1984, I don't know if you remember, Donnie Lalonde.
Yeah.
Of course.
And Mustafa Hamshaw. That was my first major fight.
Wow.
Wow. I'm good friends with Donnie Lalonde's brother, Darren.
So you brought up your father, and this is about you, not your father, so I don't want to spend too much time, you know what I mean? But just I wanted to ask you, your father obviously refereed Patterson versus Johansson, Ali Frazier, and one thing that I saw, which I thought was amazing, and I'm curious if it's true, was that he was in World War II, and his commanding officer was Gene Tunney.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes, that's true. It was called the Gene Tunney program. And if you look over here, you see that's a drawing. That's my father with Ali and Frazier, March 8, 1971, which this Monday will be the 50th anniversary, March 8th.
And do you remember your father saying anything about those fights that stood out to you?
With Ali and Frasier, after the fight, I was 10 years old then, but
Mhm.
I remember always telling me the stories that in one round, if you look closely at the fight, it may be the 10th round.
Mhm.
Joe was bobbing and weaving, getting under Ali. My father went in to break it up, and he takes his pinky finger, and accidentally pokes Joe in the eye.
Oh, goodness.
Joe turns around to like quit, and good thing my father turned around. Come on, Joe, get back into it. And his cornerman, I think at the time, Eddie Futch, what's going on? I'm fighting two men in here, the referee and Ali. He just poked, and but he continued to go on and went on to be a great 15-round fight.
Yeah, and he beat
Wow.
Ali. That was Ali's first loss, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah. That was amazing. That was
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, I mean, um, so I wanted to ask you about a couple questions, but okay, let me start with this one. Was there anybody, you've seen a lot of fighters, and was there anybody who really seeing up close really shocked you and surprised you with their skill? How fast they were, how hard, anything that stood out, any specific fighter that you could think
It,
of?
it was later in his career, but he still was fast. But he fought a young Terry Norris who was game and hungry. It was Sugar Ray Leonard.
Mm. And
He was
Leonard got, I mean, beat up pretty good that fight.
Yeah, he was my besides Ali and him, they were both my idols as a kid growing up. And to
Oh,
see him get beat, he got knocked down in the second round,
uh-huh,
and then he got knocked down in the 10th round,
uh-huh,
and then he lost by decision,
uh-huh.
and he announced his retirement. But then 6 months later, I felt bad. He fought Macho Camacho.
And he
Took
got beat.
beating.
Yeah, got beat up worse.
Yes.
So,
So
so
tell me,
go ahead, Jeremy. Sorry.
so like as a referee, and you are in control of the fight, and you said the talk. Do you have a ranking system in your head that you have of guys that fight, like what's going to be a smooth fight, what's going to be a more rambunctious fight, or like a hard hard to referee fight? I mean, do you have those pre ideas from or what you see? You understand what I'm trying to say? Like,
Oh,
does
I absolutely know what you're saying. That's why I always try and get a feel, for who I'm refereeing, where they are in their career. I mean, like I was with Lennox Lewis 3 times. I did Lennox Lewis, Ray Mercer, which was
Yeah.
a hell of a
oh my,
fight.
oof,
Then it was Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, and then
oh,
Lewis and Grant. But I knew they were all big guys. So
Mm.
like my father always preached to me, you got to keep yourself in condition. I made sure I worked out every day, and it made it easier for me to go and break the big heavyweights up. I kind of like working the heavyweights because the lighter guys, they hold. You really work hard with
yeah,
the
the
lighter
work, yeah.
guys, and you do
Interesting.
the heavyweights.
I wanted to for people who are going to be listening. Arthur has been in the ring with. I'm going to go quickly here. Buddy McGirt, Iran Barkley, Donnie Lalonde, Andrew Galata, Pernell Whitaker, Ray Mercer, Kevin Kelly, Hassim Rahman, Arturo Gatti, Terry Norris, Zab Judah, Vitaly Klitschko, Felix Trinidad, Lennox Lewis, Jeremy Williams, Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto,
Arthur Weber.
Roy Jones Jr., Sergio Martinez, Teofimo Lopez, who's a new guy, Danny Garcia, Deontay Wilder, and Layla Ali. Am I missing anything huge?
No, you did your homework. God bless you. That was
Wait, yeah,
beautiful.
wait. He did your fight, you ding dong. What about you didn't put Marco
Yeah,
Elgart in?
I was just going to say that, Jeremy. You forgot yourself, champ.
And Mark, well, and also, okay, Razor Ruddock, Carlos Baldemir, and Paulie Malignaggi. I forgot those three.
Yeah.
So,
Who do you think that who in your opinion of the guys that you fought or not fought? I'm sorry, the guys that you've
Referee.
refereed. Which guys is just punch like thunderous punches that you see and feel while
yes.
you're in the ring?
I tell you, Lennox Lewis was he laid some big bombs on all three of those men that I refed to his fights. He was very devastating to me. Big guy, and he was a technician in there. He really laid some big bombs on those guys.
Jeremy's
You
smart.
did-
So
I
Jeremy,
sparred.
um,
Yeah, I got hit with that right hand too.
so
Yeah.
I want people listening.
But I hit him with my right hand as well. Just for the
I
record.
sure hope you did.
I want people listening to understand that for you who has seen more action than anybody to actually pick out Lennox, it shows how hard he really hit, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, he did. Yeah, he had tremendous power. Well, he was a heavyweight, and in that division, you got to have power, to stay in there as long as he did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Who's the most skilled technician in the ring?
To this day,
That you could think
Well, that you know of.
that you saw, yeah.
I'm looking at this young guy right now, Ryan Garcia. I mean, I didn't have a chance to work any of his fights yet, but he really is impressing me. And Kid Lopez.
Yeah. Lopez is great.
Yeah.
Lopez is really good. And how old are you now, if I may ask?
61.
And you want to keep going for how long? Referee.
Hey, my dad and my father was 81 years old. He refereed his last fight at Radio City with me where I'm employed. He did Roy Jones Jr. and David Telesco.
Okay.
And I did David Izon and I forgot the other heavyweight's name. But my dad was 81 and that was his last fight.
Wow.
So if I could live that long and work as much like that, I would like to.
I mean, you mentioned
What fighter that you've refereed? Because I talk in the ring. I mean, a little. I talk to my opponent a little bit. Have you been in there with guys that talk a lot?
I just did a fight 2 weeks ago. Adrian Broner and Sergio was a hell of a fight. But Adrian loves to talk. And I'll never forget in one round, it's a signature move my father always did when the guys were in the corner. He would go under their arm and pull them to the center of the ring. I did that with both Broner and his other opponent. And Adrian said, "Man, shit, ref, you're a strong dude." Because I got in there and separated them and pulled them to fight in the center of the ring.
Keep going. Go ahead.
No, he talks a lot of trash.
Mm.
Do you feel like the more skilled the technician? I mean, if the more skilled guys are gonna have cleaner fights, or is it just the way the two people dance together?
I think it's the way two of them do it. Look, like that fight, Adrian took two-year layoff. He straightened his act out and all, but the other kid was pressing the fight, and he'd come and throw 4 or 5 punches and then tie up, make me work, which I didn't mind, but I had to break them up. A lot of guys, do that, throw a couple of punches and then want to hold.
Wow.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like for me, when I was fighting, I'm like, fuck, I don't want nobody to touch me. Let's fight. Let's work our shots off and be done. I don't need all that hugging and crumping. Like I used to hate that shit.
Of course.
I mean, it makes my job harder, and it's gonna make your job harder as well.
Right.
Have you ever had a fighter go after you because you stopped the fight or something silly like that?
No, never had that happen. I got hit by the best though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Leonard caught me in the back of the head. Then Bodou Jack got me. If you ever saw the video, it was Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis.
Uh-huh.
They tie up, and I'm a type of ref that if they tie up, let's see if they could work out of it. Well, all of a sudden, Evander backed out of it, and he threw a left hook. That's it. Somebody nicknamed it, put it on YouTube, Matrix Referee. If you can see the.
Oh, you ducked it.
Yeah, I ducked. I ducked Evander's punch, but Ray, the bell rang, and Ray already had the left hook going. He caught me in the back of the ear. But what was funny about it, I was going to go to the corner and say, "Hey, Ray, when you hear the bell," but his cornerman got in and said, "Hey, Ray, I don't think it's your night. You hit this." He called me itty bitty. You hit this itty bitty referee with the best left hook. You could knock him out. It's not your night. I went back to my corner. I was laughing, and the commissioner at the time, Randy Gordon, says, "Is everything all right?" I laughed. I said, "Yeah, everything's fine. I'll tell you after the fight."
So when the fight's over and they did 10 or they did 12, and you're walking around collecting scorecards, you look at them.
In between rounds, I look at all the fighters, not just the last round.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
first round. It's like I forgot what fight it was. Matter of fact, it was Derek Jefferson and David Eizon at Radio City Music Hall. I think it was the sixth round. Jefferson goes back to his corner and he tells his cornerman, "I don't have anything left. I'm done. I'm done." Well, a lot of cornermen today, back then, they want the next fight. I hear his corner, "You could do it. Get out there." Well, he came out, I guess it was the seventh round. I don't recall it so long ago. And Eizon was losing a fight. He took two big shots, Jefferson, and Eizon sent them across the ring. And that's when I went in and stopped the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Larry Merchant said, "I don't know why the referee would stop the fight then and not early when Eizon was getting beat." Well, afterward, he interviewed me after the fight, and I explained my story. And he was a stand-up guy. He was class act, Larry Merchant. He said, "Listen, I got to go back to the last fight with Mercante. I was wrong. He's in the middle of the ring. He saw everything. He heard things that we did not hear. And he was right with making that call." And I respected him for that afterwards, coming on national TV. Because I after the fights, my father and I would always go home the following day or 2 days later, and he would critique me. And he said, "Well, that was nice of Larry Merchant to do that."
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I was never a fan of Larry Merchant. I thought he was very critical, and especially for somebody who's never done it before. But
Right.
that's just me.
And me too.
You too, right?
Well, there's a lot of people. I mean, next time I saw him, I said, "Larry, that was a class act. You went on national TV and explained," because people don't know. They would have taken his word for it and believed it, but he heard it right from my mouth to his ears, and he was a gentleman and apologized, which takes a lot to do.
Yeah, which is cool, to clean up the little mess, because people are followers. They're not leaders at all, But I think personally, like, the referee should have a say in the fight at the end. I mean, round to round.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore, though.
Judging.
Well, Jeremy, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up, because after the Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield fight, when they called it a draw, they had a hearing. They had us all up at the commission's office.
Oh.
And yeah. And you remember it was Eugenia Williams, Stanley Christodoulou, and another judge from London. Well, they brought me up and they said, "As a referee, how did you see the fight?" I said, "Well, you gentlemen know, you men on the panel, everybody in this room, I'm second generation. My father refereed and judged some of the greatest fights ever. And I don't think he ever had a bad decision. If something like this happens, you should have the referee score the fight. And if something happens where it was called a draw, let's see how the referee has it. Let him be the deciding factor."
Yeah.
And they all said, "Wow, that's a great idea." But that was back in 1999, that was. And nothing ever happened after it. I mean, you don't have to take the referee's scorecard. Let him keep score. And if you have a decision like that, let's see. And that could be the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what you see, what you see is a whole nother world from the guys sitting around the box.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it's a whole nother thing, and not only you're seeing it, you're hearing it, and you know what the sounds are that correspond with the punches. And I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I actually think that there should be more than. I feel like at some point they should incorporate people who can just vote from all over and watching it because I feel like some of these fighters, we pour our hearts out, and for it to be called a draw or for it to be judged the wrong way is so fucked up. I feel like if you can have thousands of even millions of people watching from all over, all put in what they think, it's strength in numbers. It's a more accurate when 10,000, 100,000, a million people think one guy won, you know.
It's
Yeah.
something. It's something.
It's like I always like the amateur rule from being an amateur fighter and being an amateur referee for the 5 years that I was there. There was never a draw. There had to be a winner, and it was only 3-round fight. The amateurs were only 3-round fights, but there had to be a winner of the fight. There was no such thing as a draw. I mean, it's tough. It's tough now. The judges score the fight. They turn their card in 10-9, 10-9. It's a tough call.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, so really, how hard is it for you when you see a guy who's working his ass off and the fight is close, but they're doing 10-9s and 10-8s? How hard is that for you, or do you even see that? Because when you look at the scorecards every round, right? When you see bullshit,
when I pick up a scorecard, I don't look at it. I pick it up and I deliver it right to the commission. I don't look at this card or anything. I just pick in between every round. After the first round, you go to the judges. You pick up the 3 cards from the 3 judges and you hand it to the commission.
Oh, we thought that you actually looked at it.
No.
Are you not allowed to, or you just don't want to?
No.
Okay.
you're not allowed to.
No.
No, okay.
I mean,
I was under the impression that maybe you looked at it real quick and get moved.
No. You pick them up and you bring them right back. That's why I like it. They do it. Judges are quick with these cards. Pick it up, and then this way it gives me some time to check on both fighters.
Yeah, that's true.
And
then when you're checking a fighter and he's in this corner, you're between rounds, and you're checking a fighter. What are the things you're looking for?
I'm looking to see if he's talking to his trainer the right way, checking his eyes out, making sure he's responding to what his cornerman is saying to him.
Huh. Okay.
So because the coach is gonna send the fighter in there regardless.
Most likely.
And the fighter's gonna want to fight. Most fighters are gonna want to fight. So it's your eyes and your intelligence
you froze, Jeremy.
that is gonna save the guy from himself.
Right.
I didn't froze.
I didn't understand that. He broke up on
Marco, tell him.
I know he can hear you now.
Okay. Well, I'm saying so what did I say?
That
it was so good.
It's his eyes. You're the one who can basically see better because the corner man is usually going to just be like, no, go out and fight.
Well, yeah,
that's what I mentioned earlier when I did Derek Jefferson fight. His cornerman said, "Come on, go out and give me this round. You got this fight." And the kid didn't have it. He told his cornerman, "I'm exhausted," and that helped me know when to stop the fight by going there and listen to how he was responding to his cornerman. I go to a corner, I try and spend maybe, it's only a minute rest. So 30 seconds in one corner or 40 seconds, and then go to the other corner and give the same amount of time, kind of.
That makes sense. I mean, I get it. I know from the other side, from me looking at you and looking at the referee, I'm trying to make sure if I got hurt that last round, and I sit down, I look up to you, and I'm looking up saying, I'm good, or I'm always gonna try and give you the better judgment of me.
Right.
It's up to you and your staff or your referees to really make the choice, because the trainer is gonna want to push the guy out unless he's just terrible, he's just gone. But
here's a perfect example, Jeremy and Marco. As you know, I did the Yuri Foreman Cotto fight in Yankee Stadium.
Right.
Okay. Foreman goes down on water, has a bad knee or whatever. He gets back up, and then somebody threw in a towel. I didn't know where the towel came from. I caught the towel. I don't know if you recall the fight.
I do.
I caught the towel. I threw the towel out.
I was going to ask you about this. Yeah.
Yuri Foreman's corner jumped in the ring. I said, "Where'd the towel come from?" "I don't know. I didn't throw it." I said, "Well, listen." I went over to Melvina Latham. The commission says, "Melvina, I'm not stopping this fight. I don't know. Nobody knows where the towel came from. Arthur, it's your call. You're the referee." So with that, I go over to the Foreman. After he sits down on the stool, I said, "Champ, what do you want to do?" "I want to continue. I want to try and defend my title." which I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, I'm going to give you a second chance, but I'm going to keep an eye on you. So he came out, he took the one body shot, went down on one knee. I stopped the fight. But people didn't realize at the time, there's only 3 people that could stop the fight: the referee, the doctor, and the commission. So when that towel came in, boom. And what
mean
really,
nothing.
Well, what about the fact that some states have the rule where if anybody enters the ring, it's automatic disqualification?
right. Yeah. Well, but it was there. The bell, the towel came in and the bell rang. Yeah, I could have done that, but I don't know if you ever heard me before where I tell, sorry about that. I tell fighters, listen, it's your show. It's not mine. I don't like to take points away and I don't like to disqualify. Come out and put a good show on and I'll stay out of your way. And that's what I do. I don't, like my father always said, God rest his soul, be seen, but unseen.
Yeah.
Be there when you have to be there. And with that, like you said, they all jumped in, but I told everybody, get out. The fight is not over. And
Yeah, they made it seem like his corner threw in the towel and you went against it because the fighter wanted to continue. That's how it seemed at the time.
Yeah, no, I know at the time it did because when I stopped the fight, I went over to the corner. I said, okay, the fight's over. Who threw in the towel? And that's what he said, I did. I said, well, when I asked you that, when you jumped in the ring, why didn't you tell me that? The kid wanted to fight. I know apparently what was being said, that's a long time ago, is that the wife was there yelling, throwing a towel. Somebody thought she took the towel, but the cornerman took the towel and threw it in.
Yeah, and he had only hurt his knee and he slipped, right?
Yeah, he slipped on the water. That's why I was frustrated. In between rounds, they put so much water on. I kept telling him, wipe down the corner. It's like, if you notice in one round, I'm standing in the corner where the water is, and I'm pushing them to the center of the ring to get them away from the water.
Okay. Was there ever a fight that went completely opposite of what you thought, that surprised you in the outcome of the fight? That something that stands out?
Not necessarily, no.
No. Never somebody where you thought would get demolished and they win or something like that?
No.
No. Okay.
All right, well then what is the funniest sound you ever heard a fighter make when he got hit?
There's a couple of weeks ago I did a fight. The guy got first round, got a body shot. Oh, and went down it, and I stopped the fight from the hey, that big time now. These kids are digging in the body like the old school guys used to do. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time. You hit a guy in the body the right way. You both fought, and the kid
fight's over. Yeah, fight's over. Body shot, fight.
Yeah.
Like a proper body shot, fight's over.
Yeah. What was Layla Ali like in the ring? Did she have anything that stood out specifically?
Yeah. You're good, Marco. You got some good questions. Yeah, I forgot what happened was she hit this girl. I even have the picture hanging in my gym out in my yard. She hit this girl with a vicious left hook, broke the girl's nose.
Ooh.
And I stopped in and stopped. And she says, "Oh, what are you doing, ref? What are you doing? I want to get a record. I want to get my record knockout." I said, "Layla, the girl is through. The fight is over." She was upset that I stopped it because she wanted to knock the girl out to get I think she had a knockout record in a row. I'm not sure.
But you mean like KO, not TKO?
Yeah, KO, yeah. No, it was a TKO, yes.
Right.
Technical, yeah.
Well, that's hard to get all knockouts. Really hard.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. She was.
Go ahead,
Jeremy.
I'm just going like when you did Trinidad and Jones. I mean, how exciting was that fight for you?
Let me tell you, when I get these assignments, it's really a privilege and honor to work with great fighters like Cotto, real gentleman. I had opportunity to work 3 of his fights, 3 of Trinidad's fights, and they're great guys. The Roy Jones Trinidad fight, that was a tough one. I stopped the fight because Roy knocked him down, and Roy was just a bigger man than him. But
Yeah, definitely.
got to give Felix credit for getting in there with him.
I mean, Roy Jones to me had the most amazing display of speed I've ever seen in my life. So, would you agree from everybody you've seen, was his speed just on a different level than anybody?
Yeah, he had a couple of spurts in that fight where he showed his speed and all that. Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he wasn't the same fighter then, too.
No, he wasn't the same guy. No.
No. Because I mean, I guess you would do a lot of the just New York fights, right? If I'm not mistaken, you really wouldn't go outside the tri-state?
I'm licensed in New York, Connecticut, and Boston. I've been over to Manchester, England. I had a privilege to go there and referee an IBO fight in Manchester, England, which was nice.
Oh, so generally, do the athletic commissions just kind of pull from the local guys? They usually don't ship people out to ref, right?
Well, it all depends. Like I know overseas, sometimes people will say we'd like to get an outsider in, where they don't want a local referee or local judges. So either camp will decide on who they have, and if they don't want a certain judge, they don't get the certain judge. They don't want a referee. We don't want that referee. It all depends on the camps agreeing on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Makes sense.
I own a comedy club here in Brooklyn, and a lot of comedy clubs, we do the same thing. Unless it's a huge name, we pull from local guys because having people come in is just too expensive and too much work.
Right. Yeah. Right.
That makes sense. Were you gonna say something, Jeremy?
I was, but you already answered it.
Oh, okay. And so
Question still, it's okay.
I was watching the Pernell Whitaker Hurtado fight.
Yeah.
That to me was crazy because Whitaker was pretty much losing the fight.
Yeah, that you brought that up, and that's a touchy subject with me. I mean, that's you have some good nights and you had some bad nights. I went from doing an A job, I thought, to going to a B job.
What was why?
I could have stopped it 3 or 4 punches sooner.
Yeah. I mean, but it was also, for those listening who didn't see the fight, it was a weird angle because Hurtado was kind of draped over the ropes, and I felt like maybe your vision was blocked fully, and it was hard to get over there. No?
You're kind. What happened was I was on one end, and he had his hands up. Hurtado had his hands up. It looked like he was blocking most of the punches. But then Pernell hit him a one shot to the left jaw, and then a follow-up, and I came around the other way, and when I came around, he landed a couple extra shots, and it was just I was a second or two late. I would love to take that fight back.
It's funny because Pernell was never known for his punching power. Let's just be honest.
Right.
But we had Buddy McGirt on the show, and Buddy McGirt, who fought him twice, said that Pernell's body shots were vicious, but not his head shots.
Right.
So my next question is, which you're answering for this one is, you end up actually feeling like shit when something like that happens, when you make the wrong call or when you don't get there fast enough. Does it linger with you?
Of course. I don't like to talk about it because that was another, it was another rough one for me. But I'm an honest, and I got inducted into the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame because of my honesty and all that. And they even said coming into the hall is one of the most honest referees, like his dear father was. I did the fight on the Intrepid with Beethoven, Scotland, and Jones. It was, and it was like the 7th round. I went over to Scotland's corner. I said, "Hey, champ, you better show me something, or I'm stopping this fight." "No, ref, I'm winning this fight." The kid came back the 8th and 9th round. All the judges gave him those 2 rounds. It was a tough fight. He was in the like, you want to talk about guys' game and in the fight. He was in the fight until now. The 10th round came. It was a hot night on that ship. He took a left and a right, and he went out, and they took him off in a stretcher, and God rest his soul. 4 days later, he died in a coma.
Oh my God!
Wow.
And I said to my father, I went home and said, and that was the week prior to me going to England. I said, "Dad, I'm not refereeing again. I'm done." He said, "Let me tell you something, son. It's not your fault. These fighters choose their sport. Look," he says to me, "I did Ignomar Johansson and Floyd Patterson. Floyd Patterson threw one left hook and knocked Ignacio Johansson out cold. I thought he was dead. His legs were his leg was, I don't know if you saw, his leg was throbbing. So I said, Dad, I can't. He said, no, I'm driving you to the airport. You're getting on that plane and you're going to do that title fight. Stop blaming yourself. It's not your fault. These things happen. And which you do see a lot. I mean, look at, poor Dooku Kim and Mancini. It's a tough sport. And it's, on any given day, like I say, even if on any given day, the good team could win.
It's sad. There was a fighter, actually a Long Island kid named Patrick Day.
Yeah, Patrick Day. That kid. I
knew him. He was such a sweet kid.
Oh, I was over here at they had a dinner, Ring 8. I don't know if you go to any of those dinners.
No.
But he spoke at it, well-spoken, real gentleman. The kid was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
They just started a fund for him out here at a school where he went to school. Yeah, it's very nice. Ring 8 started it.
It's it's a thing where like Buddy McGirt, his fighter, I forget what country he was from. He ended up dying recently, right? And Buddy stopped the fight, and I think he stopped it at the perfect time. But it's still like to my.
It's done.
To your point, Arthur, is like it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. Sometimes it just happens. There are fights, sure, where there's gross negligence, but that was not the case in any of your fights, and in a lot of the fights, it just happens. It's hard to predict.
I tell you, mentioning Buddy McGirt, I had the chance to referee a lot of his fights, and now that he's a trainer, I respect he's all on his fighters. He did it with Gotti. Remember, he stopped Gotti.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gotti. That's the way a lot of these trainers should be with their fighters, not worrying about the next big payday. If your fighter is hurt, we're gonna save him for another day.
Yeah, because
people think of the right now, not the what's going on down the street. They think about right now, and they think about themselves. Those are the people that get people hurt in the ring. They think about themselves, whether it's a judge, a referee, or a trainer, or the fighter himself.
Well, here's a perfect example. You probably too. It was just on a little while ago. I had to shut it off because what was it called? Death in the Ring with trying to think of the fellow's name. He was the cornerman. Oh, he took the padding out of the glove.
Panama Lewis.
With Louis Resto. Yeah. What a great! I wish I got to get it back on demand. It was a sad, very sad story there. How a guy could do something like that.
And like for people listening, there is no way a fighter would not recognize the padding removed. No, right, Jeremy? I mean, no fucking way.
I laced on gloves. You all have laced on gloves. You got the gauze on there. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you could correct me. I don't know. Could you feel this padding? The way the guy did it was apparently like cut a little snip in the corner and pulled it out. As a fighter, I don't know. You put your hand in the glove. Do you feel that with the gauze and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. But it just depends on if the glove padded or is the horsehair. Remember back in the Ali days, when the gloves had horsehair in them or something like that?
Yeah. No. Do you remember those gloves the bag gloves that they don't really even sell them anymore that are just real thin and they're like old 20s kind of bag gloves that just kind of go over? You know what I'm talking about, Jeremy?
Yep.
So that is probably what it would feel like if you remove the padding from a real fight glove. And you could tell. I mean, your hand would feel it instantly, upon impact. So
that was devastating.
Yeah, that's a fucked up documentary, and Panama Lewis just didn't take any responsibility, and
I
remember that Dooku Kim was the first fighter I've ever seen die. When I was a kid, I was probably 8-10 years old when that happened.
Yeah, I felt bad for Boom Boom Mancini. He was like a lot of guys. After something like that happens, he was never the same fighter after that.
Yeah. We're actually going to get him on the show at some point.
He's a great guy. I know him well, and he's a really good man. That'd be nice.
So did you do some acting? Because I saw that you were in American Gangster.
Yeah, I portrayed my father in that. I don't know. Did you see the movie, Marco?
I didn't know.
Yes,
All
I
right.
did.
So what happens is uh, the plot thickens. It's the Ali Frazier fight, March 8th, 1971, at Madison Square Garden.
Mm.
And what happens is Ali comes out of the dressing room, and he walks by. Well, what's the actor? Well, it was Denzel Washington, but Nicky Barnes, I think it was at the time, and he shakes hands with him, and that's when Russell Crowe says, "Who is this guy?" And if you watch the movie, Jeremy said he watched. That's when he had the fur coat, he had the hat. His wife had the fur. He went home and took the two fur coats and threw them in the fireplace. But I portrayed my father in that scene.
Mm.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
And then I was in another show, was on FX with Holt McCallum called Lights Out.
What was that?
That was a boxing movie where I think Holt was the fighter in the movie, but his brother was his trainer.
Oh shit! I trained Hope for that damn thing.
Hey, great guy, isn't he?
That's my dude. He's a great guy. Yes.
Hmm.
Big old Irishman.
So how did
Good old Irishman. Yeah, that's what he is. Yeah.
how did you get into the did they reach out to you for the movies? How'd that come about?
For the American Gangster, somebody reached out to me and told me they're looking for a person to play the referee. And look, you have your father's namesake. You'd be the perfect guy for it. So I made a few phone calls, went up there, and they made me the referee for the fight in the movie. But you only see like 2 seconds of me. It's not much. But it was just an honor to be in the same room with Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
For I think I talked to you about this, Arthur, briefly. I don't think I told Jeremy this, but for my pro fight that you refed, I wore sneakers in the fight, right? And I had flat feet really bad, so I couldn't wear boxing shoes ever, right? Because I'd have to wear insoles, orthotics, and it was just the boxing shoes are real thin. They got no sole. So I would wear sneakers. So for that fight, I wore sneakers, and as I'm coming in, like the athletic commissioner at the time, which was this, I forget his name, big tall guy, 6'6".
Oh, wow.
He was my
He was a professional. He played for the Knicks. Tom Hauser.
maybe.
Not Hauser.
So he
Tom Hoover.
So they're coming up to me and they're like, "What are you doing? What?" They're freaking out. I'm like, "What the fuck's the difference?" And I explain to them like, and they're all pissed. So at the end of my fight, as they're announcing the decision, Arthur comes up to me and he's like, "I thought you were gonna get fucking killed with those sneakers on, but you did pretty good."
I didn't use the.
You didn't curse. Okay, you didn't curse, but that was the energy behind it. Because
a great memory.
My father was a fan of your father, and he knew who you were. So afterwards, my father came up to me and was like, "What what more can't he say to you?" And I told him, and so that's what made me realize, like, yeah, that's just
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I like these old stories.
yeah, a little. That's
he had on track shoes in a ring. Oh, so cute.
Nike Air Max is what they were, and they were comfy.
Yeah,
But you do need the ankle support and all that. These were low tops. So I get it, but
well, I got fellows that make fun of me because I got the Everlast high. They almost go up to my knee. I have them since in 1976. They were white, and then when I turned pro, I brought them to an artist, and he dipped them in black paint. I still have them to this day from 1976. And guys are like, "You kidding me with those old ankle up?" I said, "Let me tell you, fellas, it's great support for the ankles. Everlast made a great boxing shoe."
They did years ago. They did.
Do you have kids, Arthur?
No.
Okay, I was going to ask it. So, because I know you could talk about it. You have a gym, right? Your own gym out there in Long Island?
Yeah. Well, what happened since this COVID crisis? I'm a stagehand in Manhattan. I work at Radio City all over Broadway.
Oh.
And they cancel. I do the Christmas show every year at Radio City, and they canceled it. So one of my buddies said, "Hey, Arthur, you're great with the kids. Why don't you do something?" So I had a speed bag when I was a kid in my parents' house growing up in Garden City, and when my father sold the house, I took the speed bag and I put it up outside and in a shed. So I got a heavy bag, a speed bag. I got about maybe 10 kids that come by, and they're really into it. They're from ages 10 to 30.
Okay.
I got a kid that's in special ops in the Army, 6'8". He comes down here once a week from Poughkeepsie, trains like crazy. They said, well, you should join the Army boxing team.
Okay. So do you have any fighters competing? Are you getting into it like that? Training?
No. There's nothing going on right now, as you know that, Marco. There's no,
Right.
those gyms. A lot of these kids wanna, like the 10-year-old kid. He's really good. He wants to find somebody for him to fight. I said, we will one of these days. Just stand tight. And one guy's 24 years old. He works for Major League Baseball. His name's Cam. He's really got potential, but there's nothing we can do. It's a shame. It's a shame, as you all know, they got rid of the Golden Gloves. Now they call it the Metros or whatever.
I didn't know that.
But, there's no more Golden Gloves. It's called like the Metro, something like that. But they didn't start up. I guess the Daily News dropped out. I stand to be corrected. Could be 2 years ago. I'm not sure.
Wow. So there's no more Golden Gloves.
No more.
New York Gloves, not the national tournament is still good, right?
Oh, they still do national tournaments as far as I know, but there is no more New York Golden Gloves.
Wow.
It's called like the Metro Gloves.
Wow. Yeah, I know there's a lot of. I fought in the Adirondack Golden Gloves when I was up at Kevin Rooney's, so I know there's different sections of it.
Oh, you had a good man training you.
Well, that's how Jeremy and I met. We both were in Kevin Rooney's camp. I was a beginner, and Jeremy was just turning pro after having a crazy, impressive amateur career.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Man, and Mike was later on after you guys, I guess, right?
No, before.
He was before us.
Mike was before you two gentlemen?
Yeah, we went out. Yeah. 92. Mike was in prison at the time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's you guys. Okay. All right.
Hassim
we're youngsters, bro. We're youngsters.
Well, I'm youngster. Jeremy's a little older than me.
No, Marco, what are you, 30?
Thank you. 44. Thank you.
44. Okay. You are both young men to me. I'm an old geezer here.
No.
But you both take care of yourself, and that's all that matters. Stay fit, stay healthy, and you guys are good men.
Thank you, man.
We appreciate you spending some time with us. We had a little technical difficulties, but that's all good, man. We appreciate that. We'd love this. What's your next show? Do you have one? You have one yet?
I'm scheduled to go up to Mohegan Sun. There's a fight card on Wednesday and Saturday, but I got to take a COVID test first on Tuesday.
You already had it, so you're clear.
Well, I got COVID. Knock wood. Well, I took 5 tests already since I had it, and they're all negative.
Yeah.
But I've got a buddy of mine what said for 3 months now he's been still testing positive.
Wow.
That's what the sad thing is about these things. But I went up to Mohegan, like I did the Broner fight, so I was fine. Then it was negative, and Wednesday I did a fight there too. So it's nice they're doing fights up in Mohegan Sun. It's great to go up there and work, and they got a good commission, and everything's wonderful there.
Yeah.
Well, many more fights to come, brother. We appreciate your time and your effort, and thank you, Marco. Because no, we don't want to thank you. Well, Mr. Mercante, thank you. Because he's better than you, man.
Thank you, gentlemen. Marco, you're a technician. You should be here. You should get a job with a phone company. You figured out the problems.
I appreciate having you, man. Let's do it again.
Yeah, by all means. Anytime you want to shoot the breeze, I'm there for you. God bless both of you, men, and keep up the good work.
Take care.
All right, thank you,
Stay
sir.
safe. Bye-bye now. Peace.